bar.
That extra gear, the first 3 steps.
Huge strides in the performance.
That I might not be the player I am today.
Welcome to another episode of Behind the Gear, and today we got Kevin, Max, and a little bit of different times right now for us and everybody, kind of going through some uncharted territory. I think not only as a country, but I think as a whole world. It's nuts, man. And just how fast things are escalating. So obviously, if you live under a rock and you have no idea what we're talking about, we're talking about the COVID-19 or the coronavirus, and just kind of how it's basically impacted and affected everybody's world. From, I want to kind of dive in quickly just on the hockey side of it, but on the sports side in general, I mean, yeah, the NBA closed down last week, and then next thing you know, NHL suspended, PGA, like LPGA, everything, like every sport
snowballed big time. Yeah,
crazy, man. So what did you do Saturday night, Max?
I was lost. Yeah,
you were still playing too. Like you had playoffs going
between
on.
Our own hockey and no work, like us not being on the ice and no sports. It was tough.
Yeah,
it's been tough every day.
So do you really love your family?
My family loves me more now.
Yeah,
but I just by habit, I'm just like going on like the Score app and like some of these apps, and I'm like, what am I doing? Yeah, it's devastating.
It's crazy, man. It totally changes. Like even on the Saturday, we were kind of went to friends for dinner, and which probably not supposed to do that. But, and then it's like, hey, is there an afternoon game on? Kind of just in my head, I'm like, no, it's like there's zero, like nothing. What about you, Kev? What'd you get up to on the weekend? Anything fun?
No, just hanging out. Did anyone feel like it was a long weekend? You're like, think about how Friday we all came in and we were all like, figuring out what to do and what's going to happen for everything, your day-to-day lives, but also work. And does anyone feel like that was like 5 days ago? Oh, yeah. Because that feels like just because there's every 2 hours, there's something else. Yeah. Or every 12 hours, it's like 3 days past. I feel like that was a long time ago. So,
but it's also like, I felt not stuck, but like we were in our house or went for a walk or we were doing stuff in the backyard, but we didn't really leave. Right. So the days are longer, like you had a hockey game to go to or, anything like that. So the days were definitely longer. So to your point, I thought like, it felt like a week ago that we had met up on Friday, and now we're 3 days later and went through it. The other thing too that was crazy is how fast things escalated in that 42 hour or 48 hours or 72 hours. You went from basically running March break camps on Friday potentially to all the rinks being closed, all the public libraries, all the March break camps canceled across the city. Like even private arenas are closed, like everything, right? So obviously we're getting into more of a lockdown mode now, and then it kind of ties your hands as far as what you can and can't do. You can't really go anywhere. We talked a little bit about it, but I went out on the weekend just to a camera shop and I think actually I popped into Walmart to grab batteries, which, I mean, why did I go to Walmart? No idea. And I felt guilty. It felt like I should not be out here. It almost felt like everyone looked at you like
it wasn't too busy in Walmart.
It was not busy. Yeah. No, it wasn't crazy. Like for a Sunday, like parking lot could park, like, it wasn't like normally you drive by there, it's jammed. Right. But no, it wasn't.
Is that like your moment, like your first moment with this whole thing where you're like, whoa?
No, like my first moment was, so when this all came down, like when the NBA got canceled and stuff, I happened to be down in Hershey with the AHL team. So when that happened and within 24 hours, we were like practicing, had games that weekend to nothing, suspended. Right. So when I ended up changing my flight to come home early and stuff, the airports were not that busy. My flight, I had a row to myself, which that stuff was weird to me. Like that was the first where I was like, whoa. And then,
wait, did you just say your flight was empty?
Yeah.
Empty.
Yeah, like not empty, but I had like nobody beside me. Okay. Like it wasn't jammed. Like
it's different, that would never happen normally.
Normally it's pretty busy, and then even in the airport, it wasn't crazy busy. Like walking around, landing in Detroit, walking through Detroit airport wasn't busy at all. I always carry my bag on, so I just kind of walked from there right to my car. But even going up to my car, there's tons of parking spaces, which normally it's pretty jammed up. So it's like those were little things that were starting to kind of trickle in with me. Like whoa. And then just how fast everything happened from going from kind of normal, regular to not like leagues canceled, stay home, stay away from everybody. It was crazy. But in Hershey, they had a doctor that was part of the kind of the COVID team and kind of part of the whole coronavirus team. And he came in and gave a talk to the whole group, and it was really good. Like it was informative, and it kind of put everyone at ease. Like, you're in a demographic that you're going to probably be fine. It's like catching the flu. Make sure you take precautions. If you have any symptoms, just stay home, deal with it. If you're symptoms get worse, then you come to the hospital. Otherwise, just stay home, deal with it like a flu, and you'll be fine. But he really kind of put everybody at ease as far as the information that he gave out, which was huge. Because when this stuff happens, I don't know, like for you guys, you guys heard about it, obviously, I'm saying you guys because I wasn't here when it was going on, or when it started to kind of catch some wind with the NHL being canceled. What was it like for you guys when you first started hearing about it, and like what, they canceled the NBA, and then, oh my God, the NHL got canceled? Like, what was it like for you guys going through it?
Yeah, I don't know about for you, but like the NBA for sure. That I was watching, like my wife and I, Steph, were just watching a show. And then she usually falls asleep super early. Right now she's pregnant. She's just gassed by like 8-9 o'clock. So I always throw a hockey game on. So I think it was the Oilers Jets when was that last one?
Yeah, it was last Wednesday. Yeah.
And then that's when like went right to intermission. Everything was like good, great game, great first period. And then all of a sudden like Elliot Friedman comes on and he's just like so stern and like so like in your face. Like he's just like, yeah, they just canceled the NBA. And then the mood just like dropped. And then I was like, wow, that's big.
Yeah.
And then, obviously everything kind of snowballed from there.
And the NHL finished their night that night. They finished the games that night. And then as of the next day, it was basically, I think it was around noon or.
Yeah.
But that was the first time. Like, and again, I may be a little bit too nonchalant on some of this stuff, but that was the first time I started like kind of looking, like, Googling and seeing, okay, what is the deal with this thing? Like, what's going on? I wasn't getting too in depth, but like, I just wanted to learn a little bit more at that point. And now, like we've talked about, like over the last few days, it's just been nuts.
Nonstop.
Yeah.
Well, you, Kev, where were you? Or kind of.
I was the same.
Yeah.
When I saw that Wednesday, not that I didn't take it serious, but I was like, okay, they had a player that had tested positive at the time. And I was like, oh, okay, this is a precaution. Mm-hmm. I wonder when this will happen, if it'll happen to the rest of the sports, whatever. And I couldn't believe how fast things were, even from when you went to sleep Wednesday night to Thursday morning. And then, obviously you woke up and it was like, hey, all the rumors, the NHL is going to cancel, and we're talking hockey here, and there's way bigger things outside of hockey, but the NHL is going to cancel or suspend the season. And then it just seems like it snowballed. Like there was just crazy stuff happening. And then it almost seemed like it was like one thing after another, but then Saturday seemed like another big milestone when they started talking about like, okay, now they're closing leagues or suspending leagues, whatever. And then Saturday was like, okay, we're going to start shutting down cities and everybody's on lockdown, or not necessarily lockdown, but that seemed like another kind of turning point where, to me, and Saturday, I didn't go out. Like my wife and I were just at home and we were just kind of hanging out. We were going to do a bunch of stuff. We ended up just kind of doing some stuff around the house and not going out. And I didn't go out all day, like didn't leave the house. I was cooking dinner and ran out of propane. So I had to run to the gas station just to get a tank. And I was like, I called her like as I got, and it was only 2 minutes away. And I called her, I'm like, it is Saturday at like 6 o'clock and there is no one. Live in a pretty busy intersection part of town. There's no one out here. This gas station is empty.
It's like tumbleweeds.
Yeah, honestly. And then like I'm paying, and I even like there's a lady that came in behind me, one person the whole time I'm there. I'm paying, and she comes in and like stands like kind of one row over. Like normally you just walk right to the desk right behind the person. And it was a conscious effort she made, which I get, like not to kind of be that close. But there's no reason to be that close to me. We were the only people in there, and she didn't come, waited until like moved kind of away as I walked past her at the door. Like it hit me right there. I was like, oh my, this is, I'm like you, Max. Like I was reading stuff, but probably not as educated as I should have been on the whole thing. And I was just like, holy man, this is, we've only seen the beginning.
Yeah. It's one of those, like, this is for real moments.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I feel like this is just kind of my opinion, but with everything, like we always feel like we have a bit of like the benefit, living in Canada. Like sometimes we're away from, the US makes a big splash in the news all the time. And we're just like, it'll never happen here. It's never going to get to that point here. And then now, and I know a lot of it is precautionary right now, but like now it's like, hey, this is for real, and you better get ready. And again, who knows what's going to happen over the next few days, weeks, months, who knows? But it's nice to see everyone kind of on the same page. And
I think too, though, like, and I want to get your opinions on this. I think it is important for people to get educated on this, but get properly educated. Because if you go online or you go on Twitter, you start looking, you start getting down different rabbit holes. And I want to get into this too, but the amount of crazy people out there that are just like off their meds, it's unbelievable, man. But some of the rabbit holes, like, I don't know if you guys have anything that you guys remember that came out that popped out. You're like, are you kidding me? This person's actually tweeting this or sending this out. But there's some stuff I read. I'm like, there's no way. Like, you really think that this is, going to get transmitted that way? Like, what are you licking doorknobs? Like, what's going on, And, but again, like, I think that social, what are they calling it right now? Social distancing.
Yep.
Thank you. I think that social distancing obviously is the only way
good way
to
to
contain it. And the only way to like, and you can have conversations with people. You don't have, you don't have to look at people like they're crazy because they're out of their car or their house, but you're not right on top of each other. You're not, you're standing a couple meters away and whatever, right? Having a conversation kind of like a little closer, maybe a little further than what we are right now. But I still think like there's that part of it too. Like if we all go into complete isolation and everyone's over their house and in bunkers, I mean, we all come out of this in 8 weeks. What are we like? What's that going to look like as well, right? Like, not to say that you need to get into big groups and big gatherings, but there's still got to be some sort of interaction a little bit, or some kind of, get out or let out or things like that. There's something. Do you guys have any crazy stuff that you guys saw or you guys read at all?
Again, I've tried to stay away from that for the most part, but like we have like a group chat too with a couple other like coworkers, but I know like Wade's been sending a bunch of stuff kind of to both extremes, but I think it's just going to keep going like that. Like anything you look, it's going to be like to one extreme or the other. And that's where I think where we kind of like play that middle ground is kind of nice to not get too worried about it in that sense. If it does get to the point where, you need to be educated, you need to be someone that needs to be able to make a call or a decision, like maybe we look like idiots then, but like right now, like don't get too worked up. Don't get like, again, everyone has the resources that they go to and just kind of just see what happens, play it out, be safe. Don't be an idiot, like you're saying.
No, for sure. And I was, what I'm looking up right now, which is totally rude because we're in a conversation, I got my phone open. I was listening to Joe Rogan the other day. I'll find it and I'll put it in. But, and he had a really good guest on that was like from the US, and he was part of like the crisis team and stuff. And it was very just common sense things that he was talking about, but he had predicted this basically like in a book that he wrote that this could happen. And it wasn't like
just like the 20 years later, like from,
this was like,
SARS.
Kind of right. Yeah. And it wasn't like, he wasn't giving himself a pat on the back saying, I told you so. It was just like, this could happen. Right. And we're not potentially prepared for it. And he had some red flags and he was like, we need to prepare for this. And one of the things he said that I thought was really obviously like, no doubt. But if Canada's going to go to war, we don't start building our guns and building our jets and stuff that day. You know what I mean? We have all this stuff. Like the US has got crazy amounts of ammo and stuff for war, right? Well, have we prepared for anything like this? Not really. Like there's no surplus of masks or ventilators or things like that. So we're getting stuck right now where the biggest threat to this whole thing isn't the actual influenza. It's the fact that there's not enough ventilators, not enough support at the hospitals, and we're not equipped for this to, even the swabs, I guess there's a swab shortage now. So even being able to get, to take swabs off people, there's a shortage of that. There's obviously a shortage of masks. Like, so you look at all that kind of stuff. And I mean, are we prepared for this as a nation, like as a world, let alone just each country. Right. And should we invest more money compared to what we invest in military and fighting? Should we invest maybe a little bit of that money into the hospital system? Probably not a bad idea, But now I think like even for us as like we're all part of a small business, everyone's kind of caught with their pants down a little bit, being like, hey, and I'm not saying any restaurant or Tim Hortons or anything could prepare for this, but now what do you do? Like, so restaurant can't open anymore. They shut it down just because they're shutting everything down. No gatherings. What do you do with those salaried employees? What do you do with your lease? What do you do with the loan you have out on that place? I think it was Italy or France that gave their residents, like people, a 4-month grace period on their mortgage, which I thought was awesome. So countries are coming out with little things like this where they're giving some relief to families, because we went through it this morning. I was telling you guys, we had, our 2 kids are going to daycare. A lot of daycares are closing down. Our daycare is a home daycare with like 4 or 5 kids, but then you feel a leaky nose and now everything's heightened. So you're like, oh my God, maybe we can't send them. And you're going through all this stuff. And it's stressful, man, on everybody, it's crazy.
Yeah. It's crazy for sure. Like you said, like, I don't know what point it's going to get to, but it's almost to the point now where, I don't know, let's say half businesses, half, government, municipality, town buildings or operations are all shutting down, maybe just everyone has to, follow suit, and we have to suck it up for those 3-4 weeks. And then, I would think there's some leeway with some of these, payments and stuff like that for each household. I think they have to do that at some point, but then there's issues with, and this is far-fetched maybe a bit, but like water and hydro, and now all those companies want to get paid, and it's just going to be like continuous at some point. Like it's not going to end well for anyone or anything. And that's why obviously the stock market and stuff like that is going
tanking.
Yeah.
A little red.
Well, obviously to be expected, but like, yeah, I'm not Mr. Economics or like anything too crazy, but I think it's.
But to your point,
scary.
if you come out of this with 70-80% of your population broke, got into their savings just to like make ends meet. Now your cost of living goes down right now because you can't go anywhere to do anything. So you're not spending as much, but still you got mortgage payments, you got maybe a loan that you got to pay back, you got car payments, all that stuff continues. So if all of a sudden you're, half your population's in debt coming out of this after 8 weeks or 3 months, like now what do you do? So as a government, you've got to kind of help.
Yeah. They're going to have to have like grants or like something that people can apply for, or penalties that can be, taken away.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting to see.
Right? Yeah.
It's good. I think it will get cleaned up over time, depending on how long this goes, but it's going to be messy for a little bit. And for those people who haven't saved or they don't have that extra little bit to dip into right now, it could be, again, this is looking into it maybe a little bit much at the current time, but it's, you're right.
But man, for a lot of like, if you look at it right now, they're saying, okay, 3 weeks, right? As far as just school, right? So school's out for March break, and then the next 2 weeks, that's kind of the quarantine period. Hopefully by then, but I'm hearing 8 weeks, I'm hearing like a long time. Talking to some of the guys that play in the NHL, like they get pretty up to date stuff on what's going on there. And they've kind of sent, I think there's Kev, you said, right? There's a statement today.
I think it just went out. Yeah. That they're sending all their players home because they've all been there and not allowed to work out. I mean, this, like when you left last Thursday, it was the same, right? They weren't, no practices, can't do team workouts, can't even go to the facility to work out, right?
Correct. Yeah. So, you got to work out outside or
this
in your
morning, they sent them home to their own countries to self-quarantine themselves. Like, so there's no way they're planning on being back in 2 weeks if they're sending these guys home. And I mean, just from what from what I have read or what we're talking about, like there's no part of me that thinks that, hey, the school taking an extra 2 weeks off after March break is the end of this. No, like I do not think things are even semi back to normal. I don't even think things are on the downswing in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's everybody's
shocked.
Like, like optimistic. 3 weeks is like the minimum type thing. Like, okay, if we got to do it, that's probably like the least amount that people would settle for. But
I think it's just like, because that's how people are. Everyone can handle 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
And then in 2 weeks from now, if we have to say, if somebody's saying, or this is, they're like, okay, another 2 weeks. I think people are like, okay, we can deal with another 2 weeks. But if you just said, hey, it's 6 months right now.
Yeah.
People would start going crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Look what happened when we did just say a couple weeks, like 3 weeks. And, look what happened to grocery stores and all this stuff. So I think not that it's some big conspiracy, but like keeping the numbers, not numbers, but keeping the timelines down, I think is just a bit of self-preservation. Like keeping people from going,
that's a good
going
point.
from 1 to 100.
Yeah, that's true. Because if they do shut down, let's say the city where you can't go to restaurants, can't go to anything, just essentials. So grocery stores and gas.
For sure. Even just parents and stuff, like you guys are pretty level headed. You guys had a conversation. What do we do? But some, like if you just said, oh, school's out right now, then, and I know they're doing that in the States. Now they've had more more things are worse there or ahead of us or whatever you want to call it. But if they just said school's out, parents would start freaking out. Like, hey, right now parents are just like, hey, I got to find childcare for 2 weeks, and then they'll get it set up. And then if they got to continue it, I think it's just to keep the panic down.
Yeah.
And I have no idea. Hopefully it is 2 weeks and things are getting back to normal.
Yeah. Well, it's going to get
trending.
Our numbers will go up though a bunch because more people are getting tested now. And somebody, when we were down in the States, someone had said, like, made a comment like, oh, you guys up in Canada, you guys probably won't hardly get it. I was like, okay, like, I don't know. Like, I don't have an answer to that. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
But this is so rude to say, but I've talked to people in the States like that are like, no, I have the flu. This is not about right now, like a year ago, 2 years. I have the flu, but this is worse than the flu you guys get. What? Right. Come on. And I know I'm being super rude to Americans of stereotyping, but like I've heard people said that to me. You know, and I've spent a lot of time there. You used to live there.
People
we
have
all used to
also
live there,
said that we live in igloos.
well, exactly.
Legit.
This is different than
Thought we lived in igloos.
so.
People that live 2 hours from the border have a hard time pointing Canada out on the map. Now, this is a couple years ago, but and people are probably rolling their eyes and thinking I'm an idiot. But go down to southern states right now
100%.
and ask someone to point Canada on the map. Honest to God, man, it's unbelievable. Or where is Canada? Like it's right north of Detroit. No way.
Yeah, someone that lives a couple hours from the border has no idea that our weather is pretty similar to yours.
Yeah, it's that hilarious.
I'm with you.
They always refer to Canada as like a city or like
like
you'd be like, oh, you live up in Canada, like just up in Canada.
Yeah.
Right next to.
I know someone from Canada. You know them?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay,
Yeah,
but
there's a lot.
that
That was
has
big on Canada.
100% happened to me.
A lot.
There was a good commercial with that the one time. I don't know if you remember this, but someone's like, "Oh, you're from Canada," like, and that right away. So, "Oh, you're from Canada, eh?"
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Yeah, I know, Bob." And he's like, "What?" The guy's like, the Canadian's like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, Bob. He works in an office in Canada." "Oh yeah, Office Bob. Yeah, I know him." No way. Like,
Yeah. But at the same time, don't like that kind of what I was saying before. Don't we kind of take it the other way too, where we kind of like being, away from everything? We think that we might not get it as bad as the States
Sure.
just because, maybe we're not as involved in global whatever. Like you see Trump, he's got his hand in everything, right? We're just kind of sitting there. And I think we kind of get used to that and we enjoy being like the silent little buddy of.
Don't get political, Max.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
But that's as big as I can get. That's all I got.
Well, it'll be
I got
interesting though, because
nothing to do with that.
Trudeau's coming out with something today. Like our prime minister's coming out with something today on this whole issue. And it'll be interesting to see how he even addresses it. Whereas like Trump's a lot more stern. And can you imagine Putin? Like, don't cross border.
Yeah.
Dead.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but we were talking about this too. But like, look at Russia. Like, the KHL is still running right now,
Which is
insane. Now, I have never been to Russia. I have no idea what it's like. I'm going off, all the other podcasts and movies I've watched. But like, how are they doing this? But what you could see, and you made a really good point, which I didn't really think of. They probably just like the second this happened, they just no one in or out.
Yeah.
Like you're not. So they've probably closed it off, and again, awful to say stereotype, but if there was a case or a couple cases, we probably didn't hear about it.
Yeah.
Like it was not.
They got
heard
dealt
about
with.
for sure. So they're keeping it in house, and that's probably why they think their leagues are okay to keep running.
But this is where, like, when you get into stuff like that, like China got a pretty good handle on how many people they have, and supposedly they're on a bit of a downward trend now and starting to work again and stuff. But you have a bit of a dictatorship on both those countries. Like China built a hospital in 10, 12 days. It would take us 75 years to build a hospital because of all the red tape and all that. Like, and how do you get workers? Like someone was joking the other day, like, how do you get workers? You go knock on your door on a Saturday and say, "Hey, you're coming to build a hospital." Like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, whereas in Canada, a lot of the socialist countries, you're going to have like, you can't do stuff like that. You can't tell me I can't go to the States. You can't tell me that. Like basically until someone puts their foot down and says, "No, you cannot cross the border anymore. We need to get this under wraps." And like you imagine telling someone like, "No, you can't go to Alberta, not even crossing borders. Just, no, you can't drive to Alberta. I can do whatever I want." And that's how, that's how it's going to continue to spread. And that's how it's going to be hard to get a handle on it, is unless people actually say, "You know what? Yeah, we got to buckle down here for 2-3 weeks and everyone, on the same page. Let's try to get this negated and keep moving forward, but there's no way. There's no way that'll happen unless someone needs more toilet paper.
Alberta has some. Okay, we got it. I'm getting in the car.
Get the U-Haul. We're going to get toilet paper. I did not understand. I didn't understand people ravaging through toilet paper.
No.
Like,
that was the other thing. Was that Wednesday or Thursday when like one of the other teachers came in and just mentioned that he was going to go stock up on some supplies. So I went home on the way and we needed toilet paper anyway. So I was like, "Oh, I stopped at Shoppers." Nothing. This was like earlier in the week. I went to Rexall right out. Nothing. And then I ended up going to Sobeys like right next to our place. And finally they had some, but it was like
that's
white.
crazy.
Yeah. Early.
Yeah.
And then obviously throughout the weekend, you see a bunch more Costco posts and
it's crazy. Now maybe we're idiots and maybe we're stuck in this for 4 months and I'm borrowing your shirt to wipe my ass. It's like, I don't know, man. Again, it's like that causes hysteria. Grocery shopping, doing something, all of a sudden you see people like tearing the last bag of toilet paper, like, "I gotta get toilet paper. Oh my God. And then now you're freaking out. And
I want some.
Yeah, exactly. Give me some.
That's just not on the things that are an emergency, like medicine and food. You know, a little bit more. Like, not that I went and bought a whole carton of beans,
a couple of
dry
40s,
food, but like
a couple of 40s.
Yeah,
a little bit of booze.
So we're talking about like moments that made you, drop dead was when we heard about the liquor stores. I think they're closed now, but I don't know if anyone made an extra run there this weekend. But yeah, I don't know.
Friends of ours were chatting and they saw like a buddy with his 2 daughters, like with a little grocery cart, those little grocery carts in the liquor store, like full of booze. And this was like last week, right? And we all had a conversation, whatever. And like, they were saying this on the weekend, like, why would like his wife hardly even drinks? Like, and now I'm thinking, I'm like, he was potentially stocking up for the next couple of weeks, right?
Something
like,
I
went yesterday, and everyone's.
Is it chaos in there or no?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't bad at all. They only had like, I don't know if they kind of told some people just keep things lighter. But they only had like 2 tills open, so the lines were kind of long, but there was only two lines.
Yeah,
and there was honestly a guy in front of me that had a full shopping cart of wine. Like, you could tell he was an older gentleman. They're set in their ways. Like, had this, I'm sure he cleared off a shelf. It had to be 20 bottles of the same bottle of white wine. Yeah. The whole cart was filled. It was amazing. And that was the only kind of crazy thing.
Yeah.
Not crazy. I get it. I mean, you're going to drink it anyway. It's not going to go bad.
Yeah.
Grab it. But
that's going to last him 1 month. It's got a bottle a day.
It's a bottle a day,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You hear like those old Europeans sometimes. I know a buddy of mine's grandmother or grandfather was like that, like every day.
Yeah.
Every day had, whatever, he had 3 or 4 glasses of wine, like a bottle of wine basically. And it was like routine, man. And they lived till they're like 97.
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy.
Should we dip into the hockey world a little bit?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Just like,
can I say one thing quickly about if I see one more post of a hockey team picture and parents posting about how devastated they are that the season's over and their little Johnny didn't win his Pee Wee
and
championship.
they're winners in our heart, and they were going to take it. This was their year.
Holy
I think there's so
gross.
many, like, so we can go into this in depth for sure.
Has anyone seen a post about school? One parent being like devastated that school was canceled?
No.
I haven't seen one.
I've seen a couple of
really good
teachers,
point.
post like stuff you can do at home, stuff, to keep active, stuff you can do within the house or.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Which is,
nice.
that's good.
Nice. I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
Have you seen any teachers post them with a glass of wine?
With a martini and
3 weeks off?
No, yeah.
Okay, how many people saw Wednesday or Thursday a teacher go 3 weeks off and like saw ice?
Oh, yeah.
That made me want to throw my phone.
Oh, really?
Like, that made me want to throw my phone.
Well, I guess there's been so many strike days lately. So you've seen a lot of strike stuff, like picketing but yeah, to go into the minor hockey stuff, did you guys have anybody reaching out to you after the decision was made by Hockey Canada or OMHA or OWHA? Or,
like did any of the organizations?
Or just parents? Oh, yeah. Like family, friends
right
asking.
Away. It's like, hey, you get ice?
Yeah.
You guys are still running your March break camp, right? And I know at that point when they first
exactly
asked it was like, okay, now if you look back, like, okay, wait, that was probably the right thing to do. But I was still I'm like, this is when like, so for instance, my little guy and girls, their last final weekend got canceled. My first reaction wasn't, we got to get them on the ice somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it wasn't that. And even if they're playing, even if they had tryouts coming up potentially, who cares? Like, I was like, man, we got a free weekend off, but we can't even go anywhere, which sucks.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about, maybe we'll go skiing or something. And then Jen and I were talking like, why we can't go towards crowds? Like, we should be going away from crowds. And totally probably not gonna go skiing. But the last thought on my mind was that. But you probably had some too, right?
Some for sure. Same thing. And you're right. Like at the point where they initially canceled, there was still hope, right? Again, like the 3 weeks or, a big thing now is tryouts coming up for a lot of age groups in April, right? So a lot of parents reaching out asking, we still want to get on the ice in case tryouts still happen. Which I don't know about you guys, but obviously I think that's not going to happen anymore.
I haven't heard anything official. Maybe I missed it, but I'm going to assume
because everything's going back to normal in 2 weeks. So it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
But like in our business, obviously we have a good following of people and players that we're on the ice with quite consistently. So that's awesome that they do reach out. And I know for them, a lot of them, they were just looking for direction or like how serious is this actually? So like, that's great. But same thing, like I don't have a kid that's playing competitive or who's old enough, to, college, junior, whatever. But my initial thought again would be like, crap, this is serious.
Yeah.
Like if they're canceling all this stuff, we should probably take a step back and just make sure, we're set or plan something. But yeah, it's like, hey, you got any ice? Tomorrow I could jump on. I'm like, well, we got to kind of wait and see to make sure obviously it's safe enough for your kids to be on the ice or to be in the arena. So, and obviously over the course of a couple of days, we found out pretty quick that everyone's shutting down and everyone's taking the proper precautions.
Yeah.
So,
and there's some of those small town rinks that have taken the ice out already.
Yeah.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, we were saying that. Yeah.
The one thing though was closing the rink, let's say. And even for us on a business side, that makes our job easier as being like, which sucks for us.
Decision easier, yeah. Not
the
the job.
Decision, sorry, decision. Okay, we can't even book ice, but because if they did leave a couple rinks open, we all know that there'd be people there.
Yeah.
And I'm not faulting them on that, but they'd be, keeping busy, get on the ice, for whatever reason, whether it's just recreation or whether it's to like get skill development.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
There'd be people going to the library. There'd be people going to, so that's why they've got to like continuously close things so that they're not having people gather in places that they probably shouldn't be, spreading stuff and things like that. But yeah, it is definitely crazy, man. It puts a lot of families, like a lot of stress on a lot of families. That's where I kind of get irritated at some of these posts. Cause I'm like, there's a bigger picture here than a PB championship or little Johnny's Bantam season. Like it's not a big deal. He's going to be able to play again next year, and I'm not saying that we're going through the coronavirus is anything that's like, it's very, serious, obviously, and it does affect, that certain people, in a bad way, in a lethal way. But at the same time, I think we can get out of this, in a good way if we all kind of bind together and do the right things, right? So kind of looking at the big picture and kind of getting our priorities in line, I think is huge. But it's frustrating when you're kind of dealing with.
Yeah, and there's a lot of like petitions going around too, even for minor or for parents and players to sign to try to keep the seasons going. And I think at this point, like we've mentioned, I can't see that happening with
if you started that petition, you're like next level crazy. If you sign that petition, you got issues. Like there's no doubt. Same thing with school. Pretty big. Go out, like look around at other countries.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to keep like little Johnny's minor hockey going. Are you kidding me right now?
And I know in their mind, in their mind, like they don't know how long this is gonna like. And maybe it is 3 weeks. Then obviously keep it going. Like they're maybe fighting more. Hey, arenas, keep your ice in for 3 more weeks. Give us that hope that our season's not canceled. But the more and more things progress, and you see stuff come out, like the 50 people for 8 weeks, right? They don't want crowds over 50 for 8 weeks. That's going into end of May. Like it's not going to happen. And now just. Everyone's in that same boat. Tryouts, yes, you might miss them. Everyone's going to be off the ice for that amount of time. Well, you guys will all kind of get back on the ice. There's lots of time before tryouts or that next thing. But
I'm going to say the same thing I said before. Like I'm the first one that wants the seasons to start back up like tomorrow because this is our business. If hockey's going, we can do stuff. But I haven't seen a petition about school yet. So why are we petitioning to get provincials and playoffs going so that parents can spend one weekend when think about the big picture of school starts. Like there's no big picture for hockey is that everyone can get the AAA tryouts. Like who cares? Like you said, big picture of school starts up again is that everyone can go back to work. Yeah. Like parents don't.
Yeah, that's true.
Is that not a bigger deal than making sure we get our weekend wrap up tournament or, the semifinals rolling again?
Yeah.
I don't even have kids in school, but to me, that would be exciting. If not even that it happens, that when we can start talking about getting school going again.
Yeah.
Because that means kind of things are starting to go back to normal. Like I think, I don't know what you guys think, but I can't think of the NHL run is firing up again means nothing for like the economy. Well, maybe I guess a little bit, but kids going back to school means I can't picture.
Yeah. Especially after the year they've had so far, right? With all the strike days and, but yeah, I agree.
If school started running, you got kids in school, obviously you do your homework and make sure everything's good, but like, would that not be a pretty big sign to you that things are getting back to normal?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I think like, I don't know about you guys, but I think like school's kind of important. That's like for
Not
life.
well, I mean, like right underneath playoffs. But yeah, it's kind of important.
Even I'm just thinking like little guys and how to, but like starting to read and write and like, that's impressive, man. That's not easy to do. And they're like starting to learn that and they're doing it. And it's important. You know what I mean? The one thing that I'm hopeful for that this may change how schools deliver, not at the elementary, but even at high school and college and university. Like, why can't we do online? Why can't we do it? Now I know it's available, but maybe this does shift it a little bit so kids can have more flexibility to do family trips or skiing or hockey or whatever that is and still do school, but do school online. And so I don't know that this, I think this whole situation is going to put a lot of different checks for a lot of us as far as, you know, it's going to change a lot of how we come out of this, I think, on how we operate day to day, on how we do business, on how what's essential to us, what's not essential. You know, I think I'm hopeful that it's going to have some positive come out of this, even though it's such a negative situation for everybody, you know, that there'll be some things that we come out and maybe change us a little bit as a society or, you know, as people and look at things a little bit differently, but we'll see kind of how long that takes. I don't know how many quarts of rum that takes to get us through that, but could be a while for sure. One other thing too, just cause both of you guys are going through this, are there any, do you guys have any, worries or any obstacles that you think you're going to face with your wives being pregnant and this kind of stuff as far as, is there going to be room at the hospital? Is Dwayne going to have to come over and deliver my child? Cause I've done it twice. So, I'm just kidding. But you know, is there anything like, have you guys thought of that at all? Or is there any of your wives kind of been, or is it just kind of, should be fine?
Yeah. We've talked about it for sure.
Do you want your buddies to come over and help you in the bathtub?
Yeah, you got it, buddy. You know, we'll come to you. Okay. But my wife had an ultrasound today and she called just this morning just to say, hey, you know, is this still happening? And they're like, yeah. Make sure you come in today because your next one probably isn't going to happen. So you're going to be whatever it is, like a month or two before you get another appointment.
Yeah.
You know, and you're just going to go to your family doctor, and you guys have all gone through this. You're going through it right now. Like, my family doctor doesn't do anything with my, you know, so we're like, well, what do you mean? So we don't have another ultrasound or, you know, I don't know. It was just kind of for us where we were like, whoa, this, you know, it's our first. And I assume everything's going to be good. So I don't know if this is going to have an impact on pregnancy or anything, but hopefully not. But yeah, for whatever reason, they said, make sure you get in now because I don't know if they expect to have to take, you know, who knows, the hospital's overrun and I don't know what their plan is. They can only take urgent. I don't know what it is, but they've said that you're probably not going to have another appointment for a while after this one. So see, I don't know have you heard anything?
No. Steph's was also supposed to have an appointment tomorrow and they called this morning, canceled it.
Oh, really?
And like they gave, like the thing is with that, and I know that they're going to be on top of things. Like they already set her up with some, you know, another appointment somewhere else where she kind of get the ball rolling with the stuff that she needs to do at this stage of her pregnancy. But I think the same thing, and this is maybe me just being super optimistic, but like I still think if there is no room or if it is to that point, I think they'll have something set up where, you know, if it is, you know, going to a different location or someone coming to you, maybe to that extreme. I think Canada, and again, this is just like more of our, losing my word right now. Like reputation. Sorry. There you go. Like we'll figure it out. It'll get covered. You know, our healthcare system is pretty awesome. And I think, you know, from what I've heard, they're trying to keep that implemented as best they can for sure. Yeah. So I'm not super worried about it. Steph's more worried about getting sick, right? Like at this point, with, you know, infecting herself and again, all we can do is the stuff that people are telling us to do, you know, making sure you're doing the little things, wash your hands, keep away from people. It's boring for her, especially with a 1.5-year-old running around as well. Sure. Yeah, it sucks where she can't maybe go to the park or she can't go to, you know, a play place or something like that, but that's life right now. And
totally. You know what's crazy is like they're cutting like all non-essential stuff from the hospital. So like any surgery that doesn't need to get done or anything like that, they're kind of cutting that stuff out for the influx of people and getting a little bit over full and not having enough beds, all that stuff, right? And I think back to when I broke my leg a year ago, and be in just the emerge part, just waiting for just in a bed. I was in a bed in a hallway for like 12 hours, whatever it was, right? Which is fine. But the amount of like regulars that were there, just people that were on drugs or people that had mental illness, like
Vic?
yeah. So big hospital, like big wait times. But man, that emerge room and that emerge triage area where they had it's full, man, from people singing out loud, and all the people know their names. They're there every once a week, you know? So you think of that on top of this, like, man, like how it'd be so tough to be a healthcare worker right now, especially in that first line, you know, of dealing with like your normal people because a lot of the healthcare system's tied up with regular people that are getting arrested every night or every week, and that are checking in the hospital once every couple days, you know, like it's crazy. Right. So talk to any emerge doc or any emerge nurse, like, yeah, it's all repeat people for the most, not all, but like a lot of repeat people. Right. Yeah. So now you add that with the amount with this, you know, virus. I mean, it's crazy. Right. Yeah. So, and it's going to happen fast as far as like, now you're hearing like other units opening up or schools opening up to be extra areas where you can get checked for, you know, Corona and all that kind of stuff. So it's
for sure.
It's nuts, but we'll keep checking in. Obviously, I don't know about what I'd like to do kind of moving forward is continue, you know, obviously doing podcasts. Unfortunately, can't talk much about hockey, but any kind of inside scoops that we have on what's going on in the hockey world or what's going on in our own community with, you know, with obviously what's going on with the virus, but also with sport and community and stuff like that. We'll try to keep
I just wanted to clear something up too, like for all those parents, and we'd mentioned like the, you know, parents maybe getting a little bit worked up about hockey. Like we do want you to continue to reach out and ask questions, and we're not saying that we don't want you to keep playing hockey or keep interested. We will also update you guys when we know what's next, because we're all in the same boat. So we look forward to getting back onto the ice and getting this going again. But just to clear that up.
But I think it's a good point. I think for any parent that's out there, I know like, yeah, they deep down inside, if you're a father or mother, your competitive side, you want your kid to play and get back out there. We all understand that and appreciate that. But I think it's a time where we need to look at the bigger picture a little bit too. And trust me, if there was a way that we can get kids on the ice and even just for recreational purposes, just like stick and puck, it'd be awesome. But I think the best thing right now is to kind of stay away or stay in small, limited groups. If anyone's got an outdoor rink out there that's covered and frozen, I was
gonna say, you're gonna head back up to Sudbury. Is it anything frozen still up there?
Yeah, exactly. Just drive up.
Running the camp there next week.
On an outdoor rink, on an old lake. But yeah, we'll keep this going because I think it's fun to have dialogue, and we'll try to get Mitch and Trev and Josh, those guys into, and just chat with them a little bit as well. So, all right, boys, keep safe, wash your hands.
Yeah.